Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Well, as most of you know that follow my channel know that I haven't been on here in about a week's time, and I wanted to say I'm sorry for that. I apologize. My doctor has changed some of my medication, and I've been having a little bit of struggle getting used to one of them. But I believe I'm about to get acclimated to it. I've been having some really strong dizzy spells and just not feeling myself, but I think that we're about to get through that phase, and I'm on the mend with that. We're having beautiful weather today. We had rain over the weekend, and so we're continuing to be thankful, feel blessed for that. The pastures are greening up. Now, I don't believe that we're going to get great big tall grass or anything like that, but the cows are really enjoying it. They are, we are still feeding them hay, but they're enjoying having the water whenever they want it, and they are enjoying munching around on the fresh green grass that's come up, and some of them are actually laying around chewing their cud, which is a good sign. Today's the last day of October, Halloween for a lot of you, going out and taking your kids trick-or-treating and dressing up for your office parties and all of that kind of stuff. We don't celebrate Halloween here, but my goodness, I have seen some crazy costumes on the news, and political costumes, and anti-religious costumes, and all kinds of just big mess of stuff. And it makes me thankful that I'm not involved in all of that. But I thought I'd jump on here real quick today and talk about a few little issues, and I just wanted to be an encouragement. Now, I know tomorrow evening on Tuesday evening is when we normally have our heart-to-heart conversation, and we'll continue to do that. But I wanted to get on here today because I know that the news cycle is really quick and things happen so fast. And I know that a lot of you have probably heard all of the news that's coming out about the diesel shortages, and all of the over in the southeast, all the problems they're having there, and restrictions up in the north, and just all kinds of things that are going on, and stories that are coming out about how serious of an issue this is going to be. Now, some people say, oh, it won't amount to anything, it'll be over in a couple of weeks, and I'm not an economist. I'm not 100% sure that is a true statement. I feel like that things are kind of snowballing, and the things that have been bad things for a while over here, the things that are beginning to be bad things over here are kind of coming together and creating this big snowball effect. And I feel like it's going to turn into an avalanche, and it's just going to hit people. And I hope it doesn't hit you and your family unaware. I hope that you are aware, and that you are watching, that your family has a plan. Diesel shortages affects my place personally. My tractors and my farm trucks run on diesel. Other farmers, same thing. And we have to get hay and feed out to our pastures, to our animals. Those that grow crops have to be able to get out in their fields and do all of the things. If they don't have things in the fields now, they'll be needing to get in the fields and work their fields up, so that in preparation for things that need to be planted out. The truckers, that affects their livelihoods. And there's a lot of families. I have family that, my sister and her family owns a trucking company, and one of my aunts, her husband and her son-in-law are all truckers, and their family is affected greatly by this as well. A lot of you, I'm sure, know people personally that are truckers, and they make their living in the trucking industry, and we all know that we're affected by product going from place to place. And it's not, I know a lot of people are saying, well, there's not any shortages, and there may not be shortages of certain items, but it could be that you just can't get the item from point A to point B. It's not the trucker's fault, and it's not the farmer's fault that all of this stuff has happened. And the responsible thing for us to do is make sure that we're prepared for our families. Be aware of the situation. By now, I hope that you have paid attention, and that you've got a plan in place for your family, that you have a list of things that you know that you and yours will use, and that you are starting to feel that. See, today is a day of playing tricks on one another and being scared and scaring others. And I don't want to scare you. I just want to prime the pump, so to speak, and get you proactive in taking care of your families. This is a scary time that we're living in. Now, there's not any zombies and Frankensteins and all of that kind of stuff out there. But the things that are going on in this country are real and true things that will affect you from day to day. We want to make sure that we have our supplies, and we want to have them put back. We don't want to catch ourselves in a place that we're acting out of fear, and we're just going and taking our arm down the grocery aisle and just raking stuff off in the cart, because you'll buy stuff at higher prices, and you'll buy things that your family doesn't use, and it'll be wasteful. Buy the things that you know that your family will use. You know, we're seeing more and more people that are having to take advantage. I don't mean in a bad way. I mean actually participating in the programs that churches and food pantries have. And we know this time of year, going into the holiday season, that normally that goes up anyways. But we're really seeing a big uptick in people having to use those services. And by no means do we ever want to draw attention to them, to bring shame upon them, for them to feel guilty or bad that they have to partake in the food pantry and to get to receive from the food pantries, because we want to love and we want to take care of one another. But I also don't want to my family to have to use the food pantries. I want that stuff to be able to be there for other people. So one thing that I can do is to make sure that I have enough supply in for my family, that we can use what's here and free up something there for other people. And so that's another reason why I try to stock for my family, and I try to be aware of what is going on and what they're saying, this and that. Now, we've heard all kinds of things. It started way back with the toilet paper, remember? And it causes a big run, and everybody goes and buys toilet paper because they say there's a toilet paper shortage, so everybody goes and buys the toilet paper. Well, I have toilet paper stocked, but it's because I purchase toilet paper when I go to the store. And I have it on my shelf. Do I have, 655 rolls of toilet paper? No. But I do have toilet paper. I have beans and I have canned goods and stuff, because Howie and I both come from grannies and aunts that kept stock back. They lived off their farms, they lived off their root cellars, and they put stuff up from year to year, and we decided that was something that we wanted to continue to do, to try to be as prepared as we could for whatever comes down the pike. We don't have to be scared. It doesn't have to be tricky. It doesn't have to be any of those things. We can do everything that we can possibly do right now to make things easier for ourselves and for our families. Another comment that I've heard people make is that people are just trying to scare them. They're just trying to get them to overreact to minor situations that are going on in this country. And at one time I might have agreed that people overreact to some of the news cycles and things. But I think there comes a time when you have to say, you know what, there's enough people that I know and I trust that are saying this, and we have to take charge for ourselves. We have to know, you have to know, that the federal government is not big enough to come and help every person. It's going to come down to the individuals and to our communities and to our churches. Just a few years back, community was a very important thing, and people looked out for one another. When I was growing up, if I misbehaved, it wasn't just my parents that I had to worry about. I had to worry about the neighbors, and I had to worry about my school bus driver, because we lived in a community that was true community, and it was neighbors. Our neighbor drove our school bus, and we went to church with neighbors, and you know, with family members. And so we knew that the community was watching out for us. We knew that if they told us something, that we better, you know, make sure that we did what we were told. Now, I know today is Halloween. Today's the day that all these people take great joy in scaring one another. You already know that I don't like to be scared. I don't like that feeling at all. I don't like my chest beating or my heart beating out of my chest. I don't like that feeling at all. And so I don't partake in the scaring thing. I don't try to scare other people, and I don't like for them to jump out and to scare me. I don't like that. Need to get back to a place where we care for one another. When I hear all these stories about people being divisive and you know, cutting each other apart and with their words and saying things that can't be taken back, you know, out of anger we say things, hurtful things, canceling each other, you know, whether it's celebrities or whomever it is. If they say something that you don't agree with, they're canceled out. You know, let's everybody get together on this side of things and cancel these people out because they don't matter anymore. They said this, and we don't want to be part of them anymore. What I think has happened is that people have lost their love for one another, and I think that's a sad thing. What we're facing, guys, we need one another. You need your family. You need your community. You need those little old neighbors that have a lot of wisdom that you can tap, and they know how to do things. And if you don't know how to sew, or you don't know how to fix a piece of equipment, you know, they may be in a place where they're not able to physically do it, but they can sure tell you how. They can tell you how they survived during the Great Depression, or they can tell you how to stretch a budget, and they can tell you how they made ends meet. And they're valuable to us. They're valuable. And so I would say on this day that everybody is out to scare or to shock. With some of the costumes that I have seen go across the news today, I think that as much as people like to scare each other, I think they also want the shock value. They take the opportunity for politics and for awful, barely their costumes. And I even seen one that was poking fun at religion. And I think that people need to be really, really careful. I always want to be an encourager, and I want to leave people that listen to me on my channel with encouragement to go on, to move forward, and to keep positive and keep pushing through all the mess till we get through to the other side. And I don't want to change. I want to be that way. I still want to be an encourager. I still want to be one that gives you some answers, that gives you, I want to still be that aunt or that person, that aunt or that neighbor that you feel like you're sitting up on the back porch talking to. I still want to be that person. And so today, I hope that I have encouraged you to pay attention to what's going on. Think about how these things in these news stories affect us. How if this diesel thing happens, and hey, maybe it won't be such a bad thing, and then you guys can, that are ones that would say, oh, you're just trying to scare us. Maybe you'll come out on the other side saying, see, I told you. But if you don't, I don't want you having crying babies, going to bed at night because hungry, their tummy's empty. I don't want that for anybody. I want you to be able to look well to the ways of your household. Realize that this diesel shortage or this supply issue is going to affect a lot of areas. A lot of areas. And we need to be prepared. So get your plan in place, guys. Figure out your supply. Make you a master supply list. We go back over ours all the time. Make sure bases are covered so that you're not in there clearing the shelves, just taking what you can. Because if there is a supply issue, if there is an issue where supplies can't get from A to B, and you're in there with everybody else that is struggling to get their supplies, it's going to be a mess. And that's not somewhere where you want to be at all. Tempers flare, people get angry, fights break out, and if people have lost their love for one another, you can imagine what will happen. You don't want you or your family in that place. Get your supplies, and then get out of there. Get out of that mess, and live life with your family. Put your arms around them and love them, and try to take care of those around you. I just wanted to get on here and tell you where I've been, and also encourage your hearts on this day where it's meant to be scary and it's meant to be frightful. It's meant to be tricky, to remind you to look well to the ways of your household and do your best to encourage one another and to love one another. Until next time, guys, this is Josie. I love you. I really do. Keep looking well to the ways of your household. And just know this is no trick. This is just me trying to encourage your hearts today. Till next time, guys. We're gone.